Israel R for $10 says, could Marvel be saved if they stepped away for a bit, returned with something like Blade, and just focused on single story movies with more character focus? Just hoping on hope, since Star Wars is dead for me. Can Marvel be saved if they stepped away for a bit? In theory, yes. I think coming out with like an absolute banger of a movie would get a lot of people on side. But I think in execution, no, I think that's never going to be a possibility because the rot at the core of Marvel is the issue, and they're never going to be gone. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look, having single story movies, etc., I think it is absolutely the way forward. Anyway, I mean, a lot of those movies which people fell in love with from the start, like Iron Man, etc., they were made as their own movies, but they had little stingers on the end to connect to something a bit wider. You can do that, but they won't.
I had an alternate take on what they could do to revamp the Marvel universe. I mean, part of it does kind of take in consideration taking a little bit of a break and completely rebooting. But what I said was, basically end the Marvel universe with Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Basically, do Deadpool kills the MCU, not just Deadpool kills the X-Men, which is what it sounds like it's going to be. And then from there, you take a little break, and then you set a new MCU, but it's in the 1960s. It starts with the X-Men and Fantastic Four, specifically with the Fantastic Four leading into the X-Men. And then from there, you rebuild the Marvel universe, and you give yourself a padding of, 60 years, 70 years to work with before you get into the modern day. Then by the time you get to the modern day, then you can do some of your other crap that you want to do now. But I think I think part of the problem is the modernisms. And these characters shine in their Silver Age versions anyway. So,
well, you might be able to do that, Tom, and I like that suggestion. But you have to keep the modern bologna sausage craptastic.
The only thing I would suggest is you might have to. I mean, you could either, in that case, if you do set it in the 60s, you have the option then of keeping Professor X and Magneto age appropriate for the original comics.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you got to age them up a bit now, which I don't necessarily have a problem with them being stand-ins for like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King necessarily, because that's about the era they would have to come from if you said it now. But I don't know. I mean, at least in that case, then you can give us a classic X-Men that takes you up through the 70s. I mean, you can do a time jump somewhere in there maybe before you hit like the Hulk. Like, wouldn't it be cool to see like the Hulk take place in the late 70s, really giving you a lot of throwbacks to the original Hulk series with, Bill Bigsby and all that kind of stuff. And,
and then get like a proper Hulk versus Wolverine.
And you have Captain America come back in the 60s or 70s instead of the later period. But yeah.
As far as like waiting, it's sort of like what Nate was saying with the problem being the people over Marvel. I mean, you could wait 10 years. If the same people are involved, you're just going to get the same crap we're getting now just 10 years later. It's not going to make any difference,
Well, again, if they keep the messaging in it, then it wouldn't matter what they do. They have to get rid of the messaging or they're not going to get their audience back. Sorry. It's just not the way it is. Even if you start from the ground up, Tom, I like your idea, and I'm 100% on board. Reboot it in the 60s, work your way up, give yourself plenty of time to develop it, and you keep the messaging bullshit out of it because everybody's done with this neo-Marxism stuff, except for the authoritarians that are trying to push it. I'm trying to be nice and not curse a whole lot. But
yeah, no, you're completely right. There you go, Israel. Hope you enjoyed the answer there.